Hi readers, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper, and welcome to my looking back at days of yore and discovering how many Audible titles I have that have not been listened to. Or maybe I'm not going to listen to them. It's hard to say, but I have had an Audible account years ago and have not looked at it for a long time. I don't often look to it for books to listen to. I mostly use, as you know, Libro.fm now, or my libraries if they have audiobooks available. So I really have not touched some of these books for a long time. And it occurs to me that if I want to read my backlist and if I want to listen to an audiobook, I could pick these up, and maybe by the end of the year they would no longer be unlistened to or unread, essentially. So I would kind of feel better about that. I had an Audible account years ago for a while. My son-in-law has one too. We used to swap. We'd sign into each other's and we would listen to some of the audio titles that we both had. I think my daughter had one too at one point. But I literally have not looked at this account for the longest time. Like when I opened this up to prepare for this video a little bit, I thought, gosh, I had no memory of some of these books. And some of them I had listened to, and I remember a couple of them, like a lot, but there's a few that I'm just like, I don't even remember listening to that book, but I did because I finished it. So let's talk about the books that could be possibilities for me to listen to by the end of the year and see if these are books that you might be interested in listening to as well. So let's get started. So the first one is called Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. I actually also own this one physically. I think when I first started, I don't remember if I had started the book. I know I started the book and read part of it, and I also listened to part of it, but I don't remember which one came first. I am certain that one of the other didn't work for me, so I switched. But I didn't finish. Sorry, my hair is crazy today. It's this humid day today, and it's just nuts. Anyway, this one has a 3.75 rating, and it's had over 23,000 people that have read it or listened to it. It's horror fiction, thriller, paranormal, mystery, Halloween, it says. And I'm like, okay, but it is a chunker, which is probably why I didn't finish it all that time ago. It's 416 pages, and this one came out in October of 2017, so good long time ago. I thought I was going to read this, and I liked it. I remember enjoying it. I've looked at it several times and said, you need to finish this book, but I have not. So this is Kansas in the prairie. There's a place called the Finch House, and it is a haunted home, and it's been empty and abandoned, and it's just in terrible shape, as you can see from the cover. And something is lurking in the shadows of this particular house, it says. But this best-selling author named Sam McGarver is asked to come and spend Halloween night at this house, and it's a bit of a publicity stunt. So, you know, he's gonna, I guess, get some buzz, and he would probably like to have that because he's written books about, you know, infamous haunted homes, and he's like, okay, I'll do this. He's got some other people joining him as well, some other authors, and they're going to have like this weekend or overnight experience with each other. But something happens while they're there. The house is definitely haunted, and I do think this is a great premise. I just didn't go on with it. So that would be one that I could read now at some point. I could read it for Macabre May, or I could read it before the end of the year. So we'll see. But I'm leaning toward Macabre May because I think that that would probably be a good idea. The next one is an author that I really love, and I would like to read to zero, but I would need to listen to this one as well. This is The Hand That First Held Mine by Maggie O'Farrell. I really like her writing. She writes a lot of contemporary book club literary fiction. It is set in Britain. So I'm all in for this. So this is about, it's two timelines, two women. So this is, let's see, Lexi is the first character. And Lexi is trying to create a better life for herself. So she escapes to London. And while she's there, she meets up with a guy named Kent, and he's a very bohemian guy. They party. It's post-war Soho. They're just having a ball, as you can, imagine. Art. She learns how to be a reporter. She learns how to make a living to some degree, and she falls in love and then finds herself pregnant. Okay. And she's not going to marry anybody. She's going to take care of this baby by herself. Fast forward to present day London. There's a young girl named Alina, and she's a painter, and she navigates motherhood. First few weeks, brand new mom. She's confused. She walks outside with no shoes on. She goes to have lunch with someone and realizes it's breakfast time. She's not thinking clearly. Something is definitely changed for her. And her boyfriend, Ted, is somehow involved in this too, but I'm not sure that what's going on with Ted in particular. It's kind of vague the way it describes it, so I don't want to spoil anything too much. Also, I don't know that I understand what happens, except it's chaotic a bit, I guess. So Ted's memories become more disconcerting, it says, and more frequent, and something might connect the two of these women together. That is kind of a revelation, but I don't know what that is. I just know that I liked it when I first heard about it, and I didn't ever get to it. So The Hand That First Held Mine, Maggie O'Farrell. If I could read her to zero, I would be thrilled. Next, though, this one got me. So Lightning in a Mason Jar by Catherine Mahan. This one came out in 2025. I have this one because on audio, I have this one because I got an Kindle Unlimited, I think, or something in that way. And they sent me an audio version of it as well. And it went to Audible because Audible is connected to Amazon. This one is about Bailey Ray Rigby, who's from South Carolina, but does not like South Carolina, so she's not returned since she's been an adult. And her her adoptive aunt, Winnie, has passed away, and she's going to have to take care of Winnie's, home and estate and all of the things that need to happen as someone dies. So she returns to South Carolina and she starts to go through her aunt's things. So Bailey Ray finds her aunt's cookbook, and she is really just excited about this because her aunt wrote all these recipes herself, and she's just wanting to leave this kind of legacy with other people. So her plan is to leave South Carolina, buy a food truck, and go to Myrtle Beach and sell her Aunt Winnie's food. Somebody comes to the door, a young woman with the same cookbook with a code in it, and Bailey discovers that her aunt had been connecting with women who had been abused in some way with a violent person in their lives to come to her home for safe haven. And they had to only just show this cookbook for them to be able to be let in. And so she did this for a very, very long time. So now Bailey is faced with knowing something that she didn't know before, and also discovering that this is something that really holds her in her heart. So she wants to know if she can find the courage to do what her aunt did to create a purpose for herself in life that she hasn't had. I guess she's been a little bit adrift. So again, historical fiction to some degree, romance, it says as well. Mystery book club pick for a lot of people, and it's about 270 pages, so that would not take as long as Kill Creek for sure. Then we have The Boomerang by Robert Bailey. This was a book that I got as well on Kindle Unlimited, I think, and therefore ended up with an Audible title in my Audible account. The Boomerang was a book that I saw when we went to Salem last year, and it was in a souvenir store. And so for a long time, until recently, I thought that Robert Bailey was from Salem because they had a number of books by him on the shelves. But indeed, Robert Bailey is from Huntsville, Alabama, which is not far from me. So The Boomerang is very interesting, and it's kind of right up my street as well, which is why I had my eyes on it in Salem. I just didn't buy it there because, as you probably know, books in souvenir stores in cities like Salem are much more higher priced than they are on other platforms. But it stayed with me, and one day I happened to see it on Kindle Unlimited, and that's how I ended up getting it. So this has a 4.49 rating with over 25,000 people having read it. It is being billed as a mix between John Grisham and Yellowstone. I have read some John Grisham, not a lot, but I've never seen Yellowstone. However, this is a political thriller, it says, so I'm assuming Yellowstone has something to do with politics. But this is about the President of the United States at the time that this is written, and he has terminal cancer, and his best friend Eli James, is also his chief of staff, which actually happens more often than you think. They've been friends forever, best friends. Surprisingly, the president starts to improve, which makes everyone sort of take pause because he's had treatment, but he was not expected to live. Terminal cancer. His daughter then, though, is diagnosed with cancer, and that's like too much. So Eli takes off to meet up with a big pharma guy, a lobbyist. Lots of money goes through big pharma. Lots of things happen. So Eli goes to this lobbyist for advice, but they then have more questions than they have answers in regard to some of these medications, possibly that the president has taken, I'm assuming. Also, they stumble upon a cover-up that is devastating and huge in financial, means, like billions of dollars are attached to this. And this seems like this isn't good. And I don't know if he goes to flee to the western part of the United States because he feels like he's in danger, or if he's trying to figure out what happened in order to, help the president and his daughter, I guess, but also to stop maybe some nefarious people. I don't know, but it's a mystery thriller, suspense, fiction, and it's also been billed as a book club book that people have chosen. So it sounds like it would be good. And if I like this author, I have no shortage of books to read by him. This one's a bit big too, so it's a little bit longer to listen to than some of them. 12 hours and 11 minutes if you listen to it, 416 pages if I decide to read it on the Kindle device. But I do think this one is one I'd like to read by the end of the year because it keeps popping up for me. So the next one is it's a shorter listen. This is by, I think he's the author of it, but I'm not absolutely sure. Someone that I love. He's an actor. I watch him a lot. He also does some cooking shows and things like that. So this is called Twain's Feast, and it is with Nick Offerman, only available on Audible Original, it says, and it's 4 hours and 27 minutes. It has a 4.2 rating with 12,000 people having rated it. And this is historical insights, rich biographical details, excellent narration, and engaging food history. So he looks at the life of Mark Twain through the lens of foods, his favorite foods. And it says as they explore these foods and the role that they played in Samuel Clemens' life, there's also a history that occurred as a result of some of these foods. And so they go with another historian and writer, and they take off to go across America and examine each of these dishes and to see kind of how this would have played out then, and if they're still, I guess, if they're still something that we like today. So that sounds fascinating. I've just never picked it up. The next one I got was because of the narrator of this book. This is Stephen Fry's Victorian Secrets, only available on Audible as well, but it was written by John Wolfe and Nick Baker, and it's narrated by Stephen Fry. I watch Stephen Fry on the Graham Norton Show a lot. I love him. He's hilarious. He's British. I could listen to him all day. Which in the summary, it says people could listen to Stephen Fry. It's always a treat. So that makes this book even better. So he's recounting some of the fascinating arcana of the ostensibly tightly wound Victorian era. Whimsical music, short, informative, and entertaining chapters Fry delivers hidden truths and juicy secrets on subjects ranging from scandals and sanitation to sexuality and sadism. He looks at diaries, or the authors did, journals, newspaper articles, and historical materials to offer you three reenactments of crime, sex, freaks, medical practices, and more, with humor interspersed. I'm sure that would be lovely. It is longer. It is 7 hours and 33 minutes, 4.2 rating with over 18.6 thousand people who have rated it. Sure, I could probably give that a shot. It might be more of a Christmas experience, but I'm not sure. Then there's Art and Soul Reloaded, which I'm sure at the time I thought was going to be a book that I was already into. This came out a while ago by Pam Grout. Let me see if there's a published, yes, 2017 this came out. This is a year-long apprenticeship to summon the muses and reclaim your bold, audacious, creative side. Personal development. Look, I really need this right now because I want to be doing some more art and some more scrapbooking and some other things, and I just have not been able to get into that momentum yet quite. But I'm getting there. I'm absolutely getting there. So it says she invites you on a year-long apprenticeship to recognize and unleash your innate creativity, not necessarily painting a gallery worth of still life art or belting out a Grammy-winning song, but finding a way to give your inner muse a voice in the world, drawing, dancing, singing, writing, and then also just perceiving other ways in which you could create something and stay in a creative space. So it sounds really good, and I would like to listen to that and see if it's really good. I don't know. I hope so. I really loved all of these when I grabbed them. And then this one is also newer, but so weird. This is The You Are by Dr. Rickon Laszlo Hale. Now, if you all are people who watch Severance, you just heard me say something that pinged you and you are excited to hear this. And if you are not someone who watches Severance, you might think this is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard in your life. And it's probably true in both ways. But The You Are is a spiritual biography of you, but it is written by a character from the show Severance, Rickon Laszlo Hale. So this is a kind of just a parody on that experience. So Severance is both creepy and twisty sci-fi and humor, and it's just weird. It's a weird show, and it's sort of genre bending in many ways. It's time bending. So I don't want to tell you a whole lot about it, but I would say that we really love it. We've actually rewatched season 1 and are about to rewatch season 2 because I think season 3 is about to come out. But Rickon Laszlo Hale is the brother-in-law of one of the main characters, and he's married to the main character's sister, and he's weird. He's a spiritual guru that's also, I think, been trained in psychology or something, but he's funny, and he's writing this book, and he's very excited, and he's always trying to share it with other people in this community where they live in this weird space. And Mark Scout, he leads a team at Lumen Industries. Lumen Industries is this whole experience where you can have yourself severed from your current self so that you don't remember. It surgically divides your memories between the time you're working and between the time you're at home. So if you're grieving over something, or if you're having a struggle over, something in your life, you only feel that grief and struggle when you're at home at night, which most of that time you're going to be asleep. As you know, we spend most of our time at work every day and a lot less time for ourselves, and certainly a good bit of time sleeping if we're good sleepers. So during the day, they're completely oblivious of what happened to them before. That is the premise of Severance, and it is quite well done, I would say, and it's quite well received. So if you like Dr. Rickon Laszlo Hale, Rickon for short, you will love The You Are, I'm sure, and I would like to get to this too. And it's pretty short. It's an hour and 5 minutes long. Can I listen to Rickon for an hour and 5 minutes? Probably. I mean, he is just a quirky character for sure. So So those are the books that I am hoping I could get off of my backlist and listen to before the end of this year. That would be great if I could make that work. Let me know if you have listened to any of these, if you like them, if any of these are sort of sparking your interest. Let me know that too. If you have an Audible account still, good for you. I found Libro.fm, and they support indie booksellers, and so I went with that because it seemed like the option that I really wanted to choose. But Audible has a number of good things about it. They do have also a trial, I think, or something. They have, if you join, you get a discount. I think these will be fun, and I'd really like to get through Kill Creek. If I were to choose one of these to start with, it would probably be The Hand That First Held Mine or Lightning in a Mason Jar. I think those are the ones that are really calling me right now. I may read Kill Creek for Macabre May, which is my read along month in May. And then we'll just see what happens with the rest of them. If you don't want to leave a comment below, you certainly can put headphones, you could put a microphone, you could put anything that reminds you of listening to something. There's probably a boom box or something in the emoji space as well. Or put whatever emoji you like best, because those are the ones that we use the most, right? I can always tell which ones I use the most because there's all, they're laid out on my phone for me. So thanks again for your support. If you're not a subscriber, I would love for you to join. If you'd like to do that, hit the like button if you feel so moved to do so. And as always, in this case, happy listening and happy reading. Bye.